So the three things for me, as far as mindset are concerned, is number one, gratitude. The fact that, you realize you live on a planet where half the Earth's population lives on $1 a day. The fact that you live after broad spectrum antibiotics. The fact that you live in a time where infinite levels of knowledge are available to you at the speed of light on the internet. I have friends that live in Africa, and I can just call them for free on WhatsApp, and it's like not an issue whatsoever, and it's encrypted. It's incredible. All this technology that's at our fingertips for free, and we just don't have gratitude for us. And until you look at, watch a story or TV show about people who lived in the 18th century, and you come to the realization how much harder they had. Like they would die from dysentery, they would die from not getting clean water. Just incredible levels of. You consider the most powerful man in the world, Henry VIII, died of gout, something that's like easily curable today. So that kind of stuff is one is the level of gratitude I have. You have 2 hands and 2 feet. You can walk around, and even if you don't have 2 hands and 2 feet, you look at Nick Santonastasso, the dude's missing an arm and 2 legs, and he's still out there dating a supermodel and driving a sports car. Like, why? Because he just believed in himself, right? It's an incredible thing that you can do by having a certain level of gratitude. So that's the first thing. Second thing I'll tell you is present moment awareness. And that is the concept of I do not try to interpret what happened in the past, and I don't try to judge what happened in the future. I am totally and completely accepting and surrendering to the present moment, however it is. If my shoulder hurts, if my friend pissed me off, I go into the feelings. I don't resist any feelings whatsoever, but I don't judge them. And when you do so, the feeling stops. So instead of the feeling, you feel a bad feeling, it gets in your mind, you have a bad thought, which causes another bad feeling, which causes another bad thought, which causes this cycle that happens before, that what Eckhart Tolle calls the pain body. This cycle, it stops because I have the bad feeling and I experience a bad feeling, and then I don't judge it, and then the cycle has stopped. So that's the second one, is present moment awareness. And the third one, I'm trying to remember. Oh yeah, the utter and complete realization that you're going to die. I think that's the third one. Is like the thing is, like, Elon Musk is more successful than me, and in 100 years we're both going to be in the same place. So it's one of those things. Is like, why would you not take chances and try to live life to the fullest, knowing that the incredible level of impermanence in your life? And when you completely surrender to that, and then along with understanding that you're going to die, the realization that, like, the most famous person in the world, whoever you want to think of, let's just say it's Cristiano Ronaldo, let's just say it's Lionel Messi or Barack Obama or whoever, The Rock, whoever you think the most famous person in the world is, that person had zero effect on your life today. And he's the most famous person in the world. You're not that famous, which means nobody cares what you did today. Like, nobody. You guys can do crazy stuff and dude, try it sometime. Go into a mall and just start barking and like have people stare at you for like 10 seconds and then walk away. Come back 30 minutes later and nobody remembers shit. Nobody cares. You live in a country where a man fucked a porn star while his wife was pregnant, and we elected him president of the United States. We live in a country where a man transitioned to become a woman, ran over someone, killed them, and was named Woman of the Year 4 months later. I mean, I'm talking about Caitlyn Jenner. You live in a country where Oliver North was part of the Iran-Contra affair and became a contributor for Fox News. You live in a country where O.J. Simpson, like, allegedly stabbed his ex-wife and Ronald Goldman 56 times, and now he's on a fantasy football podcast while people are trying to make TikTok videos with him. Nobody pays for shit. You're in a country where they made a movie about a guy who was eventually convicted of securities fraud. He punches his wife in the stomach in the movie, kidnaps his own kid while he's snorting Quaaludes and having sex with prostitutes. And we love him. He's the Wolf of Wall Street. Now he's a huge sales trainer. You're telling me that all these people were able to live this life with zero consequences, but no one gives a fuck about who you are or anything to do with you, and you're worried about what meme you post? Or I'm worried about posting this on social media, or I don't want to start a podcast because I'm worried about what's going to happen. You are not paying attention to the actual world you live in. So that's how I deal with rejection. That's how I deal with failure.
Let's stay on this. Let's talk about death. So ultimately, what you're saying is, with a long enough time horizon, your actions, your wisdom, your words, most of it, if not all of it, probably is going to be forgotten. So with that premise, I'm a firm believer that knowledge, insight, experiences left unshared is just a freaking waste. If you have knowledge, insight, experiences, and you do not share it, you can't create ripples, you can't affect people, you can't pass it along. You are possibly completely forgotten. It was totally a waste. So talking about knowledge, insight, experiences, what are some of the things you'd like to share that you would just roll over in your grave if you didn't offer it up? Like, people that need to hear this, what are some of the things that maybe aren't sharing enough that you think it's important that people hear?
So finding mentors is probably the number one thing that I will tell you. And that's because it's going to guide you to all the rest of the suggestions I have. When you start following successful people, success leaves clues. You're going to start to notice that they're doing the same thing. A lot of them are doing the same boring thing over and over again. So like this mentor and this mentor, it's like when you get to the top level, they're kind of doing the same thing. You're also going to find out this one massive correlation is that when it comes to like dating and seduction and when it comes to sales, they're also the same thing. Like you start to understand, oh, wait, why is it? Why is it that these techniques tend to work on all humans? And that's when you get into the concepts of evolutionary psychology. I would recommend people at least read 1 or 2 books on evolutionary psychology just to understand that like the proclivities that you have all at some point during our existence, meaning the Homo sapien existence, aided in survival. Your fear of heights, your fear of snakes, your aversion to the smell of sulfur, those kind of things, you'll notice that is ubiquitous amongst all human beings. Why is that? Because our evolution created us like that. So why is it that men prefer a certain hip to waist ratio, signs of youth and facial symmetry, and women prefer men that are taller than them and men who have more upper body muscle than women do, or more upper body muscle on average than most men? Why is it that women prefer those things across all cultures? Why is that? You learn about those things when you study evolutionary psychology. Number one would be like I said before, number one would be finding mentors. The second thing I said was like the idea of you like not taking chances because you think other people care about you. Like turn your neuroticism off. So many of you who are watching this are like worried about starting a social media account and you don't have 100 followers on Instagram and you're legitimately worried about what other people think about you. That's just arrogance. You're just a narcissist. No one cares what you're doing. When you, it was Neil Strauss who told me this one time. He goes, the key to life is recognizing that it's not all about you. I am only interested in solving other people's problems, and I'm fully aware that my wants and desires are so tertiary in my existence. Like I will get almost anything I want in the world if I solve other people's problems, not just because I want $1 million. I have to go solve someone else's problems, and before I look, I'll just turn around and poof, there's just $1 million that just appears because I'm solving people's problems. That's the trick, is to recognize it is not your wants and desires. You start a podcast or build a business because you're meeting the demands for other people. That's the trick, is recognizing that it's not all about you. And yeah, just gratitude is probably the most important one. Like just it keeps you going every day. The fact that like, I live in North America in the 21st century, and like any of you got right now who can afford a cell phone and to fly airfare anywhere, you are, I believe, part of, I think this is an Enlightenment Now by Steven Pinker. You are part of the 1% most wealthiest humans who have ever lived on the history of this planet. Of the 110 billion humans that have ever lived on this planet, you are the wealthiest ones that have ever existed, just because you can fly on an airplane and fucking own a telephone and you can afford a car. Like it's just madness when you consider that. And because the technology that you can buy now far exceeds, like there's nothing the King of England in the 17th century could do to purchase antibiotics, right? So you have your purchasing power purchases you more now. So it's really interesting when you come to these realizations, especially the gratitude one, like really how bad the majority of the human experience was for the last 200,000 years. And then you think about how incredible you have it today. Just consider like women dying in childbirth, like above 10%, 25% at certain points during history. And the fact that that's almost gone down, that's less than 1% now. And that's the reason why we have 8 billion people on the planet. It's just little things like that you take for granted. And when you don't take them for granted, you start to have a little bit more motivation and you realize the incredible opportunity and gifts that you've been granted.
I'm looking for 5 men who want to learn how to level up their social circle and attract high quality women using nothing but your IG in 5 days. If this is you, hit the link below.